Okay, so DBD's coming out with a big mid-chapter patch where they said they were going to change a shit ton of, you know, how the blood web works, a lot of gameplay changes. And then they were going to rehaul, I think it was like 30 perks. So what I want to do is just pretty much give like a my thoughts on how, you know, everything is going to be. Then yeah, I think it'll be a little bit of fun. Starting off is the new progression system. So what they're doing is they're gonna rehaul the whole blood web system into something that is a lot easier to grind for. So in the current system, it says you had to reach level 40 on any given character to get the teachables. Yes, you know, and if you don't know, to get the teachable perks on some survivors or killers, you had to do get them to level 30, 35, and 40. But now what they're doing is they want you to start prestiging, and the way they overhauled everything, it said that, you know, from now, in order to unlock all the new perks on every character, by the time the next chapter releases, you had to play at least like 4.1 hours every day. But now they're making it so you have to play at least an hour a day if you want to do that, you know, if you want to get every perk on everyone before the next chapter comes out. So apparently this is cutting it by roughly 75%. So hopefully this new system isn't going to be too extremely grindy. I like it, but I have a few questions on it. We'll get into more on what is confusing me the further we go down. So this is what they're saying: unlocking new perks to get like the survivor. I'm alluding to survivor because that's what I've been playing the most recently. To get the survivor's perks on other survivors, you have to prestige. If the first time you prestige, you get the tier 1 of that perk on everyone else, and then you prestige 2 times and you get the tier 2 on everyone else, and tier 3 on everyone else, and so on and so forth. The only thing that I'm understanding is they'll only appear, you know, for other, let's say I'm Dwight, right? And I have leader. The tier 1, let's say I prestige him 2 times, so I'll have the tier 2 of leader on everyone else. Will the tier 2 or tier 3s appear in just Dwight's blood web? That's the only, like, I don't feel like I see anything in that. I assume so, but that's the only question I have. Is I don't know if, because they won't appear in the other blood webs, you won't be able to get the tier 3 versions, and then obviously if you're at prestige 2 with that character, you won't get, you know, the tier 1s of it. But I'm not understanding if you get the tier 1s or tier 2, you know, if you're able to rank up in your own character. I would assume so, since they're technically, you know, you own them, but I don't know. None of that is like stated, or unless I'm missing it, then let me know. And then now they're also saying, you know, prestiging, it's not going to reset your you know, everything you had with that character. You know, now when you prestige, you lose all your perks, you lose everything, and you get a kind of a, I say it's a shitty cosmetic. I really don't think it's useful. So I like that they're adding this whole new prestige system. I think it's gonna incentivize people, you know, like I'm a prestige fucking 100 David or whatever. I think it's a cool thing that you could do that, and it seems like there's gonna be cool little rewards for it. I don't know how far they're going to. It says for like on this part right here is when reaching prestige levels 4, 5, and 6 now is when you'll get the bloody cosmetics, because 1, 2, and 3 will give you the perks. You know, tier 3, once you get to prestige 3, you'll have tier 3 of all your survivors perks for everyone else. But now 4, 5, and 6 will give you the bloody cosmetic on your character. But after 4, 5, and 6, it's 7, 8, 9, and it's a charm of the perks that you know, of like leader, prove thyself, and I'm drawing a blank on Dwight's 3rd perk. Oh lord, leader, prove thyself. I can't remember. I deadass can't remember. Regardless, it'll be the third. It'll be you'll get those as charms. So I don't think that's gonna be that great. I don't know if I would personally use those or not, but I like it that there's an added. I don't exactly remember what I was talking about. Oh, okay. I was talking about the expanded prestige. So once you get to 7, 8, 9, that's when you'll get the charm. But you get prestige up to 100, and I get it that that's kind of just like a bragging right thing, because the limit is 100. But it's like, will you get anything? Is there any point to it? I would like there to be something like this, like maybe you get a little bit of return of of some blood points, or I don't know, to be honest, or maybe some iridescent shards at certain ranks. But yeah, it's just like, oh, you can go to 100, but it's just like, okay, why would I ever go to 100? But that's that. The Shrine of Secrets is different now. It's the same thing as it's a little bit the same thing as before. So when the Shrine of Secrets is there, you could buy the perk on there, and you'll have the tier 1 version of it immediately on all killer or survivor, depending on what perk it is. And then after that, you'll be able to find the tier 2s and tier 3s in your blood web as you go on. So the Shrine of Secrets, I would say, is a lot better now than it was before. You can buy the same perk multiple times now, and you'll be able to get the tier 1, the tier 2, and the tier 3 of it. So I kind of like that better, instead of what they do now is, if you already have the perk and you buy it, you just get, I think it's 150,000 blood points. So you trade iridescent shards for blood points, pretty much. I like that way better. I don't know of a lot of people that use shards just for the blood points, so I think this is a pretty good change overall. I like it that you will unlock that character or those perks, and then you'll still be able to get the tier 2 and tier 3 versions of it without having to still buy it. So I like that. I like that a lot. I feel like the Shrine of Secrets is just got a lot better. So let me see if there's anything here with the new. I don't think there's anything here. Yeah. Okay. Matchmaking. Oh, so they're going to be adding like a incentive, so you'll be able to get more blood points depending on your MMR, depending on your time, your time zone. And then depending on if survivors are needed or if killers are needed, they will give a bonus percentage of blood points from 25% to 100%, depending on the demand levels of people. Like, oh, hey, we need killers now, and it'll show up next to the main menu where it says play killer or play survivor. I think that's a really good incentive. It may allow people to try. I'm gonna throw my fucking phone, because if not, I'm gonna keep looking at it. I like it because it'll give an incentive to people to, maybe they only play survivor, and then it's like, oh, hey, you can have 100% more blood points just for playing killer during this time, or vice versa. I think it's really good. It's a really good change, or not a change, but just an addition. I'm all for making queue times quicker and then getting blood points for it. So I like that. I like that a lot. Let's see what else there is. So gameplay updates. Okay, so gens are, I think the biggest thing about this is the gens are going to take 10 seconds longer when one person is working on it. But if you're on a gen by yourself, there's 10 more seconds added to it. It used to be 80, now it's 90. I like this personally, even though I've been playing a lot of Survivor recently. I remember when playing as killer there's a lot of perks that can, I don't want to say gen rush, but just, make the gens go a little bit quicker. There's a lot of things like toolboxes. There's a lot of perks, things like that. So it's just kind of like, adding 10 more seconds, I feel like is good. I feel like gen speeds have always been a concern for however long I've been playing DBD. I think I started playing DBD. Oh, I can't even remember. I'm not gonna say I was an OG. I didn't play like back when there was only like 4 killers or anything, but I've been playing for a bit, and from what I remember, gens have always been an issue. At least there's always been a discussion about gens. So I think this is a good start. You know, we're gonna have to see how big of an impact these 10 seconds are, but I think this will matter a lot because of the perk changes that we'll go over, as you know, later on. So now also for killers, kicking a gen will now instantly remove 2.5 of the maximum progress. I actually like this a lot. I think it actually incentivizes killers to actually kick gens. Incentivize that, you know, if a survivor decides, you know, let's say you kick a gen, you leave, and then a survivor comes back and taps it. Now the survivor has to think, oh, okay, do I want to tap it? Because if not, he'll be able to kick it twice and I'll lose way more progression than before. So I think it's a really good thing. I like that there's just, you know, even though, like I've been saying, I've been playing a lot more Survivor than anything, but I like that there is still, you know, kind of like the survivor has to think of what they should do instead of just like, oh, I'm gonna touch the gen for free because he's gonna kick it and none of the progress is gonna go down. So I like this a lot. So they're overall just changing killer a little bit. I think all of this is a buff. You break walls and pallets quicker. Generators are you kick gens quicker. It's by fractions of seconds, but I still think it's gonna be really good. They also reduced the cooldown of successful basic attacks. So it used to be 3 seconds. So when you would hit someone, you would have to recover for 3 seconds. You know, the animation when they clean the blade or they look at it. But now it's 2.7 seconds. Once again, it's fractions, but I still think this will make a these are all good changes for killer. They also reduce the duration of the survivor's speed boost upon being hit by 10%. So it used to be 2 seconds, now it's 1.8. Once again, I feel like these are all good changes. I just like that they're not making killer as clunky, you know, like it's the whole thing about DBD, right? It's a killer versus survivor. So I like it that, you know, the killer is a little bit quicker, having to chase you, trying to, you know, get you down as quickly as possible. They also touch bloodlust. So pretty much all they did from it is I think they took off 5 seconds for tier 2 and then 10 seconds for tier 3 bloodlust. So bloodlust is just whenever you're chasing someone for after 15 seconds they get a speed boost increase. After 25 seconds they get an even bigger speed boost increase, and then now, you know, 35 seconds and then they get the final speed boost increase. I don't think this is gonna have too big of a change. Usually you don't want to be chasing for this long, but this will still be good for killers overall. It's a good change just because it'll allow a killer to catch up. You know, in certain loops it might just feel like you're just kind of stuck, but now if you're willing to stick out, you know, for 25 seconds chasing this person, you'll get bloodlust 2, and then for 35 seconds and you'll get bloodlust 3. You'll be able to catch up to them quicker. Biggest thing is this whole thing that they're adding on to combat camping and tunneling. The thing that they're doing is now every time you are unhooked, every time a survivor is unhooked, you have the endurance effect, which is, you know, the borrowed time effect for 5 seconds, and you get a 7% haste effect for 5 seconds. Every time you're unhooked, it doesn't matter, you know, it doesn't matter if the killer's in your terror, you know, you're in the killer's terror radius or not. That person that is getting unhooked will have the endurance effect for 5 seconds. Now, that effect will go away if you do anything besides go in a locker, I think. Yeah, that's the only thing you could do. You can't, if you repair a gen, heal yourself or someone else, cleanse or bless a totem, sabo a hook, unhook someone else, or open an exit gate, that endurance effect will go away. I think this is a crazy change, but I like that they're acknowledging that, hey, we get it, that, you know, camping and tunneling is an issue, and I feel like this will definitely, you know, give survivors that are being tunneled or camped a better shot at surviving. I've been playing a lot more recently now, and there's situations where a killer will just decide to tunnel someone out of the game, right? Or they just decide to camp, or they proxy camp between 2 hooks or whatever. And then it's usually kind of rough because you want to save that person. Even like I'm playing in a 4-man Swift, but even if I was solo queuing, I would want to save the person on hook. And then if I get that person off hook and the killer just goes for them and they just down them and they don't have DS or anything like that, it's just kind of, and they do this and they repeat, you know, they tunnel or camp the same person. It's just kind of like, well, this person's dead. And the smart thing to do is just to work on gens. But it's just that, you know, it's like that nagging thing. It's like, I want to help this person. So this will give you that opportunity. If the killer really just still wants to camp or tunnel, but now like they can, but they'll be punished a lot more for it. I think this is an overall good change. I like that behavior is looking into this, and I think this is a good change. Scary, it could be kind of scary, but I still think it's an overall good change. Now this is where they decided to change a lot of the meta perks. So this is where they do the killer meta perks. So what they did with barbecue is pretty much everything's the same about it, but they just took out the blood point regression, or the blood point, you know, farming aspect of it. I don't like this just because I get it that they decided to make the blood, you know, the blood web easier, but I just don't think this was needed. I feel like they could have changed it in some way, you know, reworked the perk completely. It just said, all right, no more blood points on this. That's all. That's pretty much all they did. So yeah, all they did was take out the blood points, and I think this will do what they wanted to do. They wanted this perk to not be the only aura reading perk that killers use, but I still think it's one of the best as far as giving you information like this. Now, I'm saying this, and I haven't played killer off recently, so but I still think the status of barbecue, even without the blood points, is still really, really good. So I don't know if this is gonna make a change on barbecue at all. It's just gonna feel like, oh well, I have barbecue now, but I don't get more blood points. So Ruin got, I feel like Ruin got absolutely deleted. I feel like now Ruin shouldn't even be a hex perk, but this is, so what they did to it is they are decreasing the regression speed at tier 3. I'm only going to be talking about the tier 3s of these because I'm just assuming that, you know, you have the tier 3s of these. A lot of occasions you'll have the tier 3s of these perks. But it used to regress whenever you're not using a gen. Whenever you're not working on the gen, it used to regress from 200%, and then now it's 100%. And that's a big nerf, right? I feel like, okay, if you're gonna do that, that's fine. At that point, I'll keep it a hex. I feel like, you know, it's still a 100% regression. It'll regress your gen really fast if you're not working on it, or if you get pushed off by the killer. But the part right here is where I feel like it shouldn't be a hex totem. After a survivor is killed, Ruin will automatically deactivate. The perk will just turn off after you get one kill. Now, I get that one kill could be like, if you're, let's say if you're playing relatively fair, you know, you don't tunnel or camp or anything like that, or you kind of tunnel, but you know, you give the person a little bit of time. I still think this just absolutely deletes the perk. Like, I don't feel like I would use this as much. It might still be good in the early, you know, you still get that, you know, if you're able to ping pong to a lot of gens, you'll be able to, you know, get Ruined to proc. But once again, if someone just finds it or stumbles upon it, it's just gone. And the fact that it's just gone, even like the moment you kill someone, yeah, the game's already, once you kill someone, the favors go really high for killers. But I just don't think it should be a hex at that point. Just make it a perk. It's working whenever, you know, at the beginning, and it can't be found, it can't be destroyed, but the moment you kill someone, it's gone. I don't think this should be a hex totem anymore, but that's what behavior decided to do with it. Pop, so pretty much all they did to pop is they lowered the amount of the total progress that you lost. So it used to be 25, and then now it's 20. And the reasoning is you're going to be kicking gens faster already, and by default it you remove 2.5% of its progress by default. So I think this is a good change. I mean, they increased everything from like the speed of kicking a gen, the flat, you know, whenever you kick a gen. So I think this is fine. This is a good change. Corrupt Intervention got kind of butchered as well. So Corrupt is pretty much, you know, at the beginning of the game, I think it's 2 minutes at tier 3. The furthest gens, the 3 furthest gens? No. I think it is. Yeah, it's the 3 furthest gens away from the killer are blocked, and then, you know, for 2 minutes, and then, you know, you have to essentially, what the perk does is it stops those 3 gens and it forces the survivors to come to the killer. So this perk now will deactivate once you get a down, once you get 1 down. So I think you would have to be a little bit smarter when you use this perk. I think you would want to use this perk on maybe like on killers that can get injures quickly. So like, let's say if you're playing Legion, you injure, and then, all right, now I have everyone injured. All right, let's go for the down. But the fact that it goes away completely, regardless if the 2 minutes have been up or not, goes away once you down someone fully. It's a big nerf. I mean, but I kind of like, I think it's a big nerf, but I kind of like it because it once again, it goes back to what I was saying about the gen, you know, just kicking a gen in general. This allows survivors to kind of combat it, or you're like, you could even be like, hey, I'm gonna go down quickly so we can get these gens unblocked. I mean, it's kind of a weird strategy in that case, but you could also be like, oh, hey guys, I'm about to go down. All the gens that were blocked are good, and now everyone will be on the same page. Well, slowly be on the same page. You know, all these changes are gonna take people a little bit. But yeah, I think this is an overall good change, to be honest. I never really liked Corrupt just because it's like, well, shit, now I can't work on these gens. I gotta go closer. But I think it's overall a good change. Tinkerer. Are they ruining Noed, my favorite part? We'll get to it. I don't think it's getting nerfed too crazy. But Tinker, pretty much all they're doing to Tinker is it can only proc on one generator once. Well, it can proc on multiple different gens, but it'll only proc 1 time per gen, if that makes sense. Hopefully I'm wording that correctly. Now Tinker can proc on the same gen multiple times. So if you kick a gen, if you Tinker procs, and let's say you have pop, you go to it straight, you get the survivors off of it, you kick it, it goes below 70%, and then survivors are working on it, and you will get, and they get to 70% again, the killer will get Tinker proc again. So I feel like that should have already happened. And so you'll only be able to proc it on 1 gen at a like one time per gen. I feel like I'm wording that poorly, but I think this is a good change. I feel like this is how the perk should have been from the beginning. But yeah, overall good change. Noed is exactly the same. I feel like this isn't the change that I would have wanted for Noed, but Noed is exactly the same. The only thing is now is once it activates, it'll have an aura on it. If you're 4 meters in that aura, it'll be highlighted for whoever survivor is in the 4 meter aura. And over the course of 30 seconds, the aura will increase to 24 meters. I don't think this is the thing that I wanted on it. I feel like I guess now it doesn't force you to bring maps or bring perks that, you know, it's like if you're terrified of Noed. I feel like they should have taken off the speed increase on Noed and just leave it at that. You know, you still get the 1-hit ability, leave it as it is, but you don't get the speed increase. But with this one, you still get the speed increase, you still get to 1 hit. The only thing now is if a survivor is in a 4 meter radius of it or a 24 meter radius of it, you get to see it, you know, and you could, but see that you being able to see it doesn't stop the killer from being like, oh, I know where my totem is, I'm gonna go check on it just to make sure that there isn't a fucking survivor on it. Which I guess is kind of good because it goes back to that, oh, okay, so let's say you have someone on the hook, the killer can either just, you know, stay by that hook, or they can go look and see if someone is cleansing their Noed. but I still don't think this is the change that I wanted. It's a good change, I guess, but it's not the change that I would have wanted. Pain res. I feel like pain res is stressful to go up against, but I don't know if the change that they did to it does anything. So pretty much what they did with pain res is now whenever a killer hooks someone on a Scorch Hook, the loud noise notification and the explosion, it won't have, like, the killer won't hear the explosion, and the survivor won't, you know, scream out, and they won't get that notification, but the gen will still regress the same amount. I don't think this is, I think this is a good change, but I still don't think it really gonna matter too much. If a killer has like the wherewithal and is understanding where people are, they're already gonna know that someone is working on that gen, and they could just go to it. But I guess now it's not a for sure. They have to, like, kind of, if someone isn't paying attention, they have to, like, they still kind of have to take a guess. But it's a good change, but I don't think it's the best. I personally feel like pain res was okay, but maybe I'm the minority in that sense. I didn't think it was that bad. The explosion and all that was, you know, I just felt like that's what the perk did. But moving on to survivor perks. So Dead Hard is dead. Dead Hard no longer allows you to, you know, I think what I'm assuming, it doesn't really say, but you don't do the dash. You know, you would dash forward, you get a little bit of iframes, and then you would, you know, make more distance from you and the killer. Now, whenever you use it, you get the endurance effect, which is the borrow time effect, for 1 second. And you can only use this perk when you're injured, I'm assuming. I don't think this perk exhausts you anymore. I actually don't know. They don't say. I don't think it will, because it doesn't give you, like, you know, any, like, a sprint boost at all anymore. So I guess you gain movement speed if you get hit, but I don't know. It doesn't say if it'll still be an exhaustion perk or not. But yeah, it's not what it used to be. I feel like you will have to use Dead Hard in very not weird, but very different situations. Like when you're going for a vault, you would pop it, and then right when you're about to get hit, vault it, and you force the killer to hit you. So you'll have that endurance effect. I think it's gonna be used a lot less, but I still think you could do quirky shit with Dead Hard. I feel like a lot of people are saying, like, I did say it was dead in the beginning, but I still think there'll be a small place for it. And then if killers don't remember, oh shit, Dead Hard, they'll get absolutely, you know, destroyed. You'll hit someone at a window, be like, oh, I got them, and then they'll have the BT effect, and then they'll go to a stronger loop. So I don't think this is completely dead, but it'll be quirky. It's gonna be like a quirky perk from now on. So moving on to DS, all they did with it, I believe, is it no longer works when the exit gates are powered, which I think is a good change. The stun duration got changed from 5 seconds to 3 seconds. So whenever you get DS, the killer won't be stunned for 5 seconds. It'll only be 3 seconds. And they're just changing the conspicuous actions, which means doing anything besides going in a locker. I feel like DS was fine where it was, but I'm saying that from someone that hasn't really, I'll be honest with you, I haven't played killer much recently. I just think this is a good change. You know, whenever exit gates are powered and someone has DS, it's kind of like, even if I down them, they're out, like they're gone. So I think this is a good change. I like the exit gates are powered thing, but I don't feel like the duration should be changed too much. But 3 seconds is still a bit, from 5 to 3, I think is a big nerf. So you'll be back in chase immediately. The survivors will have a lot less time to, you know, run to a loop or a pallet or whatever it may be. Good change overall, I would say. So borrow time now, instead of giving the BT effect, it just gives the BT effect for longer. So whenever you would unhook someone, they get it for 10 seconds at tier 3. instead of, well, I'm assuming it adds, so the 5 seconds that you would get normally plus 10, so it'd be 15 seconds. So you would have 15 seconds of borrowed time and 15 seconds of the 7% haste effect. I think it's okay. I don't know how, I mean, I think it's good because you're extending the borrowed time effect, but I don't think it's gonna be too crazy because excuse me, I don't think it's gonna be too crazy because if you do anything besides go in a locker, the effect goes away completely. So I guess what you could do is you could take a hit for someone, but that's pretty much it. And like what I saw a couple people complaining about, I think on Twitter, was just like, oh, I can't wait to have someone. Well, it was more so about off the record, but we'll get to that one. Like, I can't wait to have someone just chasing me the entire time while I'm chasing another person. And the way I see it is like, okay, that's fine. That person is chasing me and they're not working on gens. So it's a win-win either way. But yeah, I think this is a weird change. I don't think this is going to be too great. 10 seconds longer, I think is if it adds, it'll be 15 seconds. I think that's good, but you have to remember, you can't do anything. You can't heal. You can't do work on the gen. You can't do anything besides going to locker. So I don't think it's going to be that crazy. Iron Will, they nerfed the absolute shit out of Iron Will. Grunts of Pain have been reduced from 100% to 75%, and it will no longer work when exhausted. I don't think anyone's gonna run this perk anymore. I'm just gonna be honest. I feel like no one's gonna run Iron Will. A majority of people will be running an exhaustion perk. A majority of people use that exhaustion perk whenever they're injured. So I just don't think this perk is gonna be used that much. SelfCare, they nerfed the speed on it, and then they nerfed the efficiency bonus that you got whenever you were using medkits with SelfCare. Good change. I don't like SelfCare personally. I feel like it teaches a very bad playstyle for newer survivors. But this is a big nerf to it, and I'm okay with that. Spine Chill. So now Spine Chill, you have to have LOS. The killer has to have LOS of the survivor on the gen to work. It'll have like a lingering effect. So at 0.5 seconds after the killer looks at you, you'll have the increase to gen speed, to Sabo speed, to opening the exit gates. So it'll be more consistent. That speed boost will be more consistent. And now you won't use this perk for the vault build. So what you would do for the vault build was Resilient Spine Chill. Now you won't get the speed boost for vaulting windows. I feel like it's a good change. I feel like this perk before, or now in the state that it is now, it was really bloated. It gave you all these bonuses for the killer looking at you, and then it's also telling you that the killer is looking in your direction, and it's also telling you, hey, the killer is coming to my direction. I feel like this perk was very bloated, and it's a free perk for everybody. I like that they're taking away that vault speed bonus, because I just feel like it doesn't fit with the perk. So now for the non-meta perk changes. So all these are pretty much buffs to all these killer perks. The Overcharge now is Overcharge whenever a killer kicks a gen, a really hard skill check is on it whenever a survivor comes and works on it for the first time. If multiple people work on it, multiple people get that skill check. If you kick a gen and you have the perk Overcharged, it'll start regressing at 100% speed, 100% to 400% over the course of 30 seconds. So you're going to want to, if you're a survivor, you're going to want to stop the regression on this perk, as quickly as possible. I think it's a good change. It's going to be interesting to see killers that could keep people off of gens, relatively quickly, and it's going to make people hit that really tiny skill check. Either people are going to have to practice it, because I feel like a lot of people are going to be running Overcharge. Eruption is an interesting perk. Pretty much what you have to do as a killer, every gen that you kick is marked in yellow, and whenever you down someone, all the gens that you kicked are affected by a regression penalty. And if people were working on those gens that you kicked, they are incapacitated for 25 seconds. I think this is a really good perk now. Excuse me, I keep burping. I apologize. I think this is a really good perk now. So the incapacitated effect, what it does is it stops you from pretty much doing anything. You can't work on gens. Oh, I don't remember if you can unhook, but you can't work on gens. You can't cleanse totems. You can't cleanse. You can't open exit gates. It's the same thing as like having Victor on you when if Victor jumps on you. So for 25 seconds, I feel like that is a long time. And if you get hit with this, it's just like, well, now what do I do? Still, I think this is going to be used a lot. Overall, I think it's a good change. Knockout. What is it? I forgot what knockout does. Oh, so now it causes survivors to crawl 50% slower, and it reduces. They crawl 50% slower for 15 seconds, and it reduces the recovery speed by 25. What knockout does now, it got changed, so I actually don't remember. From what I remember is if you just down someone, every other survivor won't be able to see the person that's on the ground until you pick them up. The killer picks them up. I feel like this is one of those that, like, okay, it got buffed, but I don't know if people are going to be using it too much. I feel like it might catch people off guard. It's like, oh, they got hit with knockout, and then a group of survivors might come and try to pick that person up real quick, and they'll be like, oh shit, this is taking a long time. So I think it like CJ was saying, I think it's good if you're going to be slugging, but I don't see every killer doesn't benefit from this. So I think it's obviously a buff, but I don't think this is going to be used too much. Chlorophobia has the same effect. So if you heal in the killer's terror radius, it takes you longer to heal, but now the speed of the skill checks are increased by 50%. I don't think anyone is still going to use this. Why would you be healing in the killer's terror radius anyway? I just don't think this is going to change the, this is going to make people use it or not. I just don't think it's going to do anything. Dark Devotion. Dark Devotion is whenever a killer hits the obsession, the killer's terror radius goes to the obsession. So wherever the obsession is running around on the map, you'll have the terror radius for a bit. I don't remember the exact time. But now what used to happen is if I was playing Huntress and I threw a hatchet at the obsession, Dark Devotion wouldn't proc. Or if I was Plague and I puked on the obsession with the red puke and I injured them, it would not proc. But now it procs. So I think that's good. I like Dark Devotion. I want to see this perk used more. I like it because it's a quirky perk that could, really, really help you out. Jolt got buffed. All they did to Jolt is pretty much they removed the cooldown. Jolt is whenever, I don't know the exact ranges of it, but whenever a killer downs a survivor in a range around them, I think it's all the gens. Oh, I would have to double check on this, but I think it's all the gens that are like in that area. They get a regression penalty. Before it used to have a cooldown, now it doesn't have a cooldown. So overall, I think it's a good change. Lethal Pursuer. As a Jolt, a lot more people I feel like are going to use this. Lethal Pursuer, I think it's Lethal Pursuer. Whenever you at the start of the match, you see everyone's aura for I think it's like 5 seconds or 7 seconds, and after that the perk is completely useless. But now they added a little extra thing where the aura reading effects of every other aura reading effect that you have is increased by 2 seconds. So it's interesting. It'll definitely increase things like if you're using like Bitter Murmur, Barbecue, and things like that. But I still think you have to like have a build with this, Overall, is it going to be used too much? I don't know. Maybe some few killers will use it, or you have to have like a particular build for it. Gift of Pain. So this is Scorch Hook perk, and it pretty much all they're doing is increasing the action speed penalty. So if I remember correctly, we were talking about this. Gift of Pain, whenever you get hooked on a Scorch Hook, you get off of it, you have a action speed penalty, which means working on gens, and healing. And it's a 16%. So you're working on gens slower. But when you heal... Oh, what happens when you heal? Hold on. The Gift of Pain is... Oh my god, I can't remember. No, okay. You have the action speed penalty, and the only way you lose it is if you get injured again. That's what it is. So you get on a Scorch Hook, you get off of it, you have a 60% action speed penalty, which is working on gens and healing. And if you heal and you get injured, that's when it goes away. So this will stay on you until you get injured again. So this one might be used a lot more, but I feel like killers will have to be conscious of, oh, I just hooked this person. I want them to have that regression or that, you know, penalty to working on gens and healing themselves. Then I got a buff. I feel like more people are going to use this. They just increased the action speed penalty per survivor. So it used to be, I think it was 5. Yeah, it was 5 before. Now it's 5.5. So the total now will be 22 if you have everyone injured or everyone hooked, or well, everyone injured. So yeah, Dana will be used a lot more. Monstrous Shrine got completely reworked. I don't think it's going to be used too much, just because it's still very basement oriented, and if you're not near the basement, you're going to need a whole build for it, pretty much. But I think it's better, way better than what it used to be. All the basement hooks are Scorch Hooks, so you could have multiple Scorch Hook perks that'll so you could have Pain Res and then Gift of Pain and Monstrous Shrine, and then all of them will proc if you get a basement hook. But it also adds the 20% faster entity progression if you're not in 24 meters of the basement. Overall, it's a good change. I think you're going to need a build for this perk, but I like it. It's quirky. I'm all about it. I'm all about, you know, quirky little perks like this. Calm Spirit now does the same thing as before. You won't make a noise when you get injured or when you go into the dying state. You won't spook off birds. And now you cleanse totems and bless totems and open chests with completely silent, but you take longer to cleanse them, bless them, or open chests. I don't think this perk is going to be used that much. Once again, it's kind of like Chlorophobia. It's like, oh, cool. It's a nice little buff to it, but I don't think it's going to be like a new meta perk or anything. I feel like it already takes a good minute to like bless or cleanse a totem. I don't feel like a lot of people would want to reduce their speed even more, you know. Saboteur is getting like not really like, I guess it is a buff, but it's kind of a quality of life. I like using Saboteur. But pretty much all it is now when you have Saboteur, you'll be able to see which hooks are Scorch Hooks if the killer does have a Scorch Hook perk. I think it's cool. So now if you have someone that has Saboteur, they'll be like, hey, he's about to hook. Be ready for Pain Res. You're gonna have, you know, Gift to Pain or whatever other Scorch Hooks they are. I think it's cool. You could focus a Scorch Hook now because the killer sees a Scorch Hook and he might go for it, and you'll know he'll go for it. And then you'll be able to sabo it and stop him, you know, and potentially get the person off the shoulder. Botany got to increase healing speed so it used to be 33%, now it's 50%. Botany, I feel like, will be used a lot. It's just increasing healing is crazy. This will probably be, if people still want to use self-care, we'll probably use Botany with it. I think anything that increases healing speed will be really, really good. Off the record, this is the perk that I was saying. So whenever you're unhooked and you have this perk, you get the endurance effect for 80 seconds. So and the haste effect for 80 seconds. I don't think this is going to be too crazy. I think it'll be really good if you're being tunneled. If you have an issue with being tunneled or camped, this will be really, really good because you'll be able to, you know, let's say you get to a loop and they're still chasing you, you outplay them in the loop and they finally catch you, you get hit, they won't be able to still do anything. They'll still give you that endurance effect and the speed boost after you get hit. So I don't think this is going to be, I think this is a good perk for people that you're afraid of getting tunneled and camped. But I saw people on Twitter complaining that like, oh, I can't wait. Oh, this is going to be insufferable having a survivor just chasing me around for 80 seconds. But as I was saying, is if a survivor has it, then once again, they're wasting time. They're wasting time not working on gens, and they're just kind of putting their team at a disadvantage. So I think this perk is fine. I don't know if there's going to be too much of an issue with this perk. I feel like people will run it, but I don't think it's going to be too crazy of an issue for killers. I think just the BT effect will you have to keep in mind now. It's like, oh, do I want to tunnel this person, and they might have the BT effect for 5 seconds or 80. So it's like you have to make that conscious decision of, oh, I'm going to tunnel this person or I'm going to camp this person. Lucky break is just whenever you get injured, you don't leave scratch marks, or no, you do leave scratch marks, but you don't make grunts of pain, and you don't leave drops of blood on the ground. Before, there was no way to recharge it after the total time of it was gone, but now if you heal someone else, you'll increase the duration by 1 second. So I think it's a small change, but now you'll be able to use it even after the whole duration of the perk is gone. So it's okay. Pharmacy, you get a guaranteed medkit whenever you're injured. An emergency medkit, I think it's the green one. I think the emergencies are on the green one. Yeah. And you can use this perk multiple times on different chests. So overall good change, but I don't know, I still don't think this is going to be too crazy used. Soul Survivor, same thing as it did before, but now you increase the generator, you get an increase to generator repair speed by 75%, which is a lot, and you open exit gates and hatches 50% quicker. But it still only procs when you're the last one alive. So if it only works when you're the last one alive, so you have to be playing very selfishly, I would say. I don't know if selfish is the word, but sometimes you would even use the word smart, but you have to be the last person alive to do this. And when you're the last person alive, you're not going to be working on gens. More than likely, you're going to be looking for the hatch or wait for the killer to close the hatch and open the exit gate. So that part is good. I don't know why they added the gen repair speed to it. Distortion is the same. So pretty much if the killer has an aura reading perk, you would have 3 tokens on it. If they had barbecue and they hooked and you were supposed to get picked up by the aura reading of barbecue, you would lose a token. You had 3 tokens. Once those 3 tokens were gone, the perk was dead. But now is every 30 seconds that you're in the killer's terror radius, you gain the token back. I still don't think this is going to be used that much. I like this perk, but I just don't think it's going to be used that much. Lightweight is getting changed. I'm curious as to what it's going to do. So pretty much what it's going to do now is the scratch marks will be more sporadic, and they will fade a lot quicker. So it'll fade from 5. It'll fade 3 seconds. 3 seconds quicker than what they normally fade out. I think this will be interesting. I think the sporadic is what I'm interested about. This might make it so like it's really, you will be looking around and like the fucking scratch marks are doing gang signs and you're just like, I have no idea what the killer is. Or maybe they just use the word sporadic and it's not really gonna do anything. So I'm hoping this does something. Hopefully it'll be a good change, because I think this will be a perk that maybe a lot of people will use. Deja Vu, it does the same thing as before. Whenever it procs, whatever gen you see with Deja Vu will now have a 5% speed bonus to it. I think people will use this. This is an everybody perk, so this one will probably be picked up a bit more. I think it's a good change. It'll incentivize people more to use Deja Vu now, instead of just before it was just information. Now it's information and gen progression. No one left behind. No one left behind only used to work whenever you opened the exit gates. Now it'll work whenever all the gens are done, or whenever the hatch is closed. But I mean, the hatch closing and opening an exit gate was the same, but it's now whenever the exit gates are done. I mean, not the exit gates, sorry, the gens are done. Whenever you finish all the gens, this perk will activate, and then you will get a 7% movement speed bonus to any survivors you unhook. So you'll get a 14% movement speed bonus to the person that you unhook. I think this perk will be used. I really like this perk. I'm glad that they took away that weird exit gate thing, but once again, the only downside again is this perk only activates whenever all the gens are done. This is for, you know, when you're trying to make a save after all the gens are done. So I like it. I think it's a good change, and I'll definitely be using it. Chat, we're almost done, and then we'll get to some gameplay. I wasn't expecting to ramble on for almost an hour, but we're getting there. Actually, yeah, almost an hour. Okay. Dark Sense. So whenever a generator is powered, Dark Sense activates. The next time the killer comes within 24 meters of you, the aura is revealed for 10 seconds, and then it deactivates. I think this perk will replace Spine Chill. I think that's what they were kind of trying to do with it. Besides, you know, the mantle speed and the repair speed and all that, that's not there, but it gives you a lot of information. So whenever you're done with the gen, you could be working on a gen, you're really far away from the killer, and if he comes in between, you know, 24 meters of you, you'll be like, oh shit, I know exactly where he is. I can try to hide, or I could just start booking it to the other way. I think this is a good change for Dark Sense, and I feel like a lot of people will pick it up. Tenacity now, throats of pain are reduced by 75% when in the dying state, and then, you know, you still get the crawling speed and being able to recover while in the dying state. So I think it's a good change, but I still don't think a lot of people are going to pick it up. It's very situational. You have to hope that the killer is tunneling you, and if they don't, then your perk just doesn't work. Hope is one of those perks that I hear people say is the worst perk in the game, and some people say it's the best fucking perk in the game. So I don't know. I think it's for the people that say it's the best, they're just gonna say now it's even better. All they did is it used to have a duration. Now it's just whenever the exit gates are, I think its exit gates are opened. No, it starts whenever the last gen is done. So whenever the last gen is done, the hope will activate, and it gives you a haste effect. I think it's a 5. I want to say 7 or 5. I would have to double check, but you get a haste effect for indefinitely now whenever the gens are done. So I think it's a good change. Will people pick it up? I feel like at the higher end people will pick it up, but at the lower end I feel like, or even mid-tier, people won't use hope that much. Overzealous I think is a really good change, and I feel like a lot more people are going to pick up Hattie because of this. So she gets a repair speed bonus of 8%, and it doubles if she cleanses a hex totem. The way you get that repair speed bonus initially is just cleansing a totem, but now if she cleanses a hex, it'll be I think it'll be really good. You get a 16% increase to repair speed. I think this is a really good perk for Hattie, and if you see this in the shrine and you don't have Hattie, this is one of the ones that you should go for. We're gonna live forever. Now they took once again they did the same thing that they did with barbecue. They took away the farming blood points of it, but what did they add to it? Now it has tokens, and while active, healing a survivor from the dying state grants them the endurance effect for 10 seconds. The secondary effect of we're gonna live forever then deactivates. So yeah, so if you take, I think it's if you still take protection hits or get save hooks, if you pick someone up off the ground, they'll get the endurance effect. I actually kind of like this because I like to use for the people. So if I have a stack of we're gonna live forever and you use for the people on someone, that person that you just picked up will have the endurance effect for 10 seconds. I actually kind of like this. Will this be used too much? Once again, I don't think so, because a lot of people use this perk for farming blood points, but now they took that away completely. I don't think it's going to be used that much. I like it because I was thinking like for the people and this will be kind of cool. But yeah, that's pretty much all the perks, all the changes. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully I didn't ramble on too much. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, listening, whatever the case may be. And yeah, let's play some DBD now.